Hi there. In this podcast, we're going to talk about SketchBook Pro. So let's start by finding that app. So I have my iPad here, and I'm going to swipe from left to right. And I'm just going to start typing Sketchbook, and then eventually it's going to come right up. There it is at the top, and I can tap on Sketchbook. So now that we're in SketchBook Pro, we have this blank canvas. Let's just take a minute or two and look around this screen and see what it is that we can choose and just become familiar with the tools. You can see that I've already selected a pencil, but I'm going to tap on that. And then when I tap on that, what's going to come up is this window, and you can see all the various tools here that I can choose from to use. But there are also down here, there are 3 other dots, and what those dots signify is that there are other windows, other tools, and things that I can choose from. So when I swipe from right to left, you can see on the screen the other choices. And you may want to use these at another time. But it's just nice to know that those are there for you. Some people look past that and don't see these other options. You'll also note that a lot of the choices that we just were able to see here, you'll see these up above as well. So you can see many of the tools in more than one place. On the other side, we have some colors. Okay? And then when I scroll up and down, I can choose from that color palette. That's very handy to have those just right there in front of you. Now down at the bottom, you'll see a little circle. And when I tap that circle, it brings up several things. One, you'll notice this up here. When I tapped on that circle, it brought up Gallery, Plus. And what that plus does is it will start another drawing for you. Undo, which is often handy. If you don't like what you've just done, you can undo it or redo it. And you have some other tools up here. We'll experiment with those in a little bit. There's text. I can move things around in layers. Layers is very important as we start to work with this application. All right, let's talk about the properties. When I tap on this circle here at the bottom of my screen, it brings up this brush properties. Now here's what that means. I've selected this pencil. Actually, I'm going to change that from a 4 to, I think, a 3. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on the black because I want it to be black. And now we're ready to draw. And we're going to use this here in a moment. So I'm just going to draw and show you what's happening so far. So when I draw, here I get this thin line like this. And you can see it's black, and you can see the opacity, how dark it is or how light it is, and how thick it is. Now if I wanted this line to be wider, I come down here and I just tap on that little button down there with my finger, and it brings up brush properties. Now I can either touch here or touch here and drag my finger out left or right, and it'll change the thickness. And I'll do that now. And notice as I'm dragging my finger out to the right here, it's making the size bigger. You see that up top? And I'm almost at 20. Now I'm moving my finger back from right to left, and my finger remains on the iPad. So I'm just moving my finger left and right. So let's put it way up at 20. Okay? And now let's see what that looks like. Quite a bit different. Wider. Okay? Now let's adjust the opacity. You can see when I tap on this circle again to bring up the properties, now I'm going to touch the top part here, or the bottom. I'll just touch the top for right now. And as I start to go down, you can see that it's decreasing the opacity or increasing it. I'm going to go way up. My finger's now going up, up, up the screen. And now it should be very dark and very thick. Here we go. You can see it's quite a bit different. So here was our first one. It was thin. Second one was thick. Then we decided we needed a little darker, so we did a third one. So just know that you can adjust the opacity and the line thickness for whatever it is you're doing. And that's right here at the bottom under the brush properties.